The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for over 5,000 years. It had crushed 100 rebellions, silenced 1,000 voices, and bent countless worlds to its will. To them, Earth was just another forgotten planet, sitting quietly in the far reaches of the galaxy. It was small, isolated, weak, or so they thought. When the Empire's scouts first picked up Earth signals, they were confused. The language was rough, but direct. The message was short, sharp, and strangely bold. "Do not enter Sol space, this is your only warning." The message was broadcast in dozens of languages, followed by precise star coordinates and a visual of Earth's symbol, a blue and white flag with the image of a human hand and a sword. High Commander Raylan of the Empire looked at the message and laughed. "Who do these primitives think they are?" he said to his officers. "One planet and they send us orders?" Around him, the control room chuckled. It was the same every time. Some backwater species discovered space travel, thought they were strong, and then cried when the Empire arrived. Raylan gave a simple order. "Send in the scouts. Let's see what these humans really have." A fleet of 5 light scout ships jumped into the edge of the Sol system. Their mission was simple: scan Earth's defenses, land on one of the outer colonies, and return. Goo. They arrived near Pluto. They began their scans. They found satellites, old space stations, and some small defense platforms. Nothing impressive. One of the captains, Varric, sent back a message. "Scans show minimal military presence, proceeding to test landing on Outpost 7 orbiting Neptune." But as the scout ships neared Outpost 7, something strange happened. The outpost powered up, shields raised, and dozens of tiny drones launched from hidden bays. Within seconds, one of the scout ships was hit and disabled. "Under attack. This is Captain Varric. We are under attack. Earth's defenses are static." Back at the Empire's War Council, the signal cut off. Raylan frowned, then smirked. "Well, looks like they want to play." Just minutes later, a second message came from Earth. "You have crossed the line. Turn back now. Final warning." This time it wasn't broadcast. It was sent directly to the Empire's communication network, deep inside restricted military channels. The signal had bypassed all firewalls. It wasn't just a message. It was a show of strength. For the first time, the council room went quiet. Admiral Thole, an older officer who had fought in many wars, leaned forward. "Commander, this species is not like the others." Raylan waved him off. "Nonsense, they're just smarter apes. They've hacked a few systems, that's all. We've faced worse." But Thole didn't speak again. He had seen something in the human message that the others ignored. Calmness. No fear. Just quiet confidence. The Emperor, watching from a distant palace, ordered Raylan to continue the mission. "We will not be threatened," the Emperor said. "Send more ships. Make them understand." A new fleet was assembled, this time with 10 destroyers and 3 cruisers. They were ordered to move toward Earth's moon and hold position. The idea was simple: show power, scare the humans, and demand surrender. As the fleet moved, however, they were watched. Deep in the darkness of space, Earth's hidden eyes tracked every move. Satellites disguised as asteroids, drones hidden in dust clouds, and outposts buried in moons relayed data back to Earth. And on Earth, leaders watched silently. They had warned the galaxy for years. Stay away. But no one had listened. Not the traitors. Not the pirates. Not the empires. Now it was time to be clear. Earth's fleet didn't move yet. They simply waited, and then they sent one last message. "Your scouts are gone. Your fleet is next. Leave now, or face what comes." The message ended with one word. Earth. The Empire received it. This time they didn't laugh, but they still didn't retreat. The Imperial fleet, now near Earth's moon, stayed in formation. Their ships glowed with power, weapons charged, engines hot. The commanders still believed victory was easy. Humans had made a show, yes, but the Empire had crushed stronger enemies before. Commander Relin stood on the bridge of his main cruiser. "They're bluffing," he said. "They want us to think they're powerful. They're just trying to scare us." Beside him, Captain Drell checked the data again. "Sir, our scouts never returned, and now the moon itself seems different. There's a strange energy signature coming from inside." Relin waved his hand. "Ignore it. Send 3 destroyers down to Outpost 7 again. This time, clear it completely. I want proof Earth has nothing." The destroyers broke formation and moved toward the outpost near Neptune. They flew fast with shields up and weapons armed. Their plan was simple: land, destroy anything they found, and return quickly. As they entered orbit, all looked quiet. Then the sky opened. A massive pulse of energy burst from beneath the ice of Neptune's largest moon. From deep underground, a hidden human platform fired rail cannons, silent, invisible weapons that tore through space like lightning. One destroyer exploded in seconds. The second lost control and crashed into the outpost it meant to destroy. The third tried to escape, but was hit by a swarm of guided kinetic missiles. In under 2 minutes, all 3 destroyers were gone. The Empire's fleet watched in horror. Back on the command cruiser, alarms sounded. Officers shouted. The screen showed static and then silence. Relin's face turned pale. What just happened?" Captain Drell spoke quietly. "Earth set a trap, sir. The outpost wasn't weak. It was bait." For the first time, no one in the Empire's fleet spoke. Then came Earth's voice. A single transmission, clear and calm. "We asked you to leave. You chose this." The message included a video. It showed the 3 destroyed Imperial ships, their pieces drifting in space, glowing against the background of stars. Admiral Thal, still watching from the Empire's War Council, stood up from his seat. "We must stop now," he said. "Send a message. Ask for peace." But it was too late. Relin, angry and embarrassed, shouted back, "No, they caught us by surprise. That's all. We attack again, with everything." He sent orders for reinforcements. A much larger battle group, nearly 50 ships, began its journey toward Earth. On Earth, preparations were already underway. In a hidden command center beneath the surface, General Ross stood with his team. He pointed at the star map. "They'll send more. Bigger ships, heavier guns. They always do." Beside him, a young officer nodded. "Should we strike first?" Ross thought for a moment. Then he said, "No, not yet. We wait. Let them come. Then, we show them why Earth is feared." While the Empire gathered more forces, humans activated their defense net. Space around Earth was filled with cloaked mines, high-speed railguns, and interceptor drones. Orbiting stations powered up long-range missile launchers. Earth's fleet was small, but powerful. Each ship had a name, a purpose, and a crew that had trained for years on one idea: never let another empire take Earth. Back near the moon, the remaining Imperial ships stayed frozen. Some commanders wanted to flee, others waited for orders, and then something else happened. A shadow moved across the far side of the moon. Not a ship, but a station. Hidden for decades under the surface, a massive Earth defense platform began to rise. It slowly turned, revealing hundreds of launch tubes and energy cannons. Relin stared at it from the cruiser. "That wasn't there before," he whispered. "No, sir," Drell replied. "It was always there. We just didn't see it." Just then, a new message arrived. It was from Earth again. "You have made your first mistake. The next will be your last." Relin clenched his fists. His pride burned more than his fear. "Call the Emperor," he said. "Tell him we need full-scale war." Back at the palace, the Emperor received the message. He looked at his advisors, then nodded once. "Very well," he said. "Let them feel the weight of the Empire. Destroy Earth." The countdown to war had begun, and Earth was ready. The Imperial fleet's second wave had already left hyperspace. Over 50 warships now moved toward the Sol system with full speed. These ships were not scouts or light destroyers. They were war-hardened cruisers, dreadnoughts, and carriers built for galactic conquest. At the center was the flagship Vengeance, a floating fortress over 5 kilometers long. Its commander, Admiral Kor, was famous for burning an entire rebellion to ash in less than a week. Kor stood before his crew. This time, we do not scan. We do not wait. We strike first, burn Earth, and erase their foolish pride. But Earth was watching. Satellites hidden in asteroid fields tracked every ship's movement. Tiny black drones the size of a child's toy followed from a safe distance, sending live feeds back to Earth Command. General Ross received the fleet's data. He leaned over the star map. "They're going to form up near Mars orbit," he said. "Standard Imperial battle spread, let them finish forming." A young officer looked up. "Sir, shouldn't we prepare our defenses?" Ross shook his head. "No, we hit first." The room went silent. Ross tapped the console. "Send in the shadows." In the dark cold beyond Mars, several Imperial ships began adjusting their positions. Their formation was almost complete. Suddenly, without any warning, explosions lit up space. 4 ships vanished in fire. No alerts, no impact warnings. Admiral Kor's eyes widened. "Where did that come from?" a sensor officer screamed. "Stealth missiles, Admiral. They're coming from everywhere." Dozens more missiles struck, from odd angles, some from behind asteroids, some from seemingly empty space. They were fast, smart, and silent. Each one found a target, and each one destroyed it with terrifying precision. Then came the railgun fire. From Earth's hidden bases on Mars's moons, powerful electromagnetic cannons launched tungsten rods at near-light speeds. The rods punched through Imperial ships like paper. In just 5 minutes, 12 ships were destroyed. 5 more were badly damaged. Kor barked orders, but nothing helped. The fleet had been caught mid-movement. They were not ready. They were never trained for this kind of war. A voice came through every Imperial ship's communication system. It was not angry. It was not loud. It was calm. "We warned you. This is your last chance. Leave now." Kor crushed his headset in rage. "Find their ships. I want their fleet destroyed." But Earth's fleet had not yet revealed itself. They were still cloaked, hiding in the shadows. On Earth, General Ross spoke to his crew. "They won't retreat," he said. "Prepare." Hammer. A large red dot appeared on the Sol system map. It came from the dark side of the moon. A hidden door opened beneath the surface, and something massive rose from the shadows. It was Earth's super battleship, Hammer. Over 7 kilometers long, it was built from ancient Earth metals and advanced, alien tech, recovered during the early years of human space travel. The ship had only one job: stop an empire. It moved silently, powered by zero-emission engines, and carried enough weapons to challenge an entire star fleet. As it rose above, the moon. Imperial sensors finally caught a glimpse of it. The fear was instant. Kor's second officer pointed at the screen. "Admiral, that ship, it's larger than our flagship." Kor's voice was dry. "That's impossible." The ship's hull glowed slightly. Its weapon bays opened like wings. A soft hum filled space. And then light exploded from the hammer. Beams of pure energy sliced through 3 more Imperial ships. At the same time, interceptor drones launched and hunted down escaping fighters. The hammer was too fast, too strong, too well protected. The Empire had never faced anything like it. Kor's ship fired back with everything it had, but the hammer's shields absorbed it all. Then came the final blow. From the hammer's core, a massive pulse cannon fired directly at the Vengeance. The Imperial flagship was hit straight through the center. It didn't explode. It simply cracked apart. Admiral Kor didn't have time to speak. Back on Earth, General Ross watched the screen go quiet. No more ships were firing. No more signals came from the fleet. One officer asked, "Should we chase the survivors?" Ross shook his head. "No, Let them run. Let them carry the message. Out in space, the few Imperial ships that survived turned and fled. Their systems damaged, their weapons gone, they jumped back to hyperspace, burned, broken, and afraid. The galaxy had never seen the Empire lose a battle. Until now. The loss of the Second Fleet shocked the Empire. In the great halls of the Imperial Palace, silence filled the war chamber. Holograms showed burning ships, wreckage floating near Mars, and Earth's massive battleship, the Hammer, rising above the moon like a ghost of vengeance. The Emperor stood before his council, his face tight with anger. They dared to humiliate us, he said. We gave them chances, they refused. Now they will burn. He raised his hand. Call every fleet. Prepare the fire wave. The fire wave was the Empire's largest military action. It had only been used once before, against a powerful reptilian species that had resisted the Empire. That species no longer existed. This time over 200 warships, including 7 dreadnoughts and 1 world burner carrier, were deployed. It was no longer a mission. It was vengeance. Back on Earth, the message was received. General Ross stood before his staff. They're coming. A full invasion fleet. How many? Asked a young officer. Ross paused. Too many. He walked to the map. But numbers won't win them this war. We don't fight like they do. The Earth Alliance sent out a call. Every colony, every space station, every pilot was told the same thing. Prepare to defend humanity. Even the old ships, once thought too outdated, were reactivated. Earth's engineers worked without rest. Civilians built barricades and turned cargo ships into war platforms, but Earth wasn't alone. Messages came from other species. Small nations and scattered worlds that had once suffered under the Empire now stood ready to help. We saw what you did, said one alien commander. You fought back. We'll stand with you. Though not many, these allies brought tech, fuel, and extra fighters. Earth welcomed them. For the first time, a united front was forming, one not built on fear, but on defiance. Far across the stars, the Empire's fleet jumped into the Sol system. It looked like a moving city of fire and steel. Hundreds of ships advanced in formation, blocking out the stars. At their center was the Judgment, the Empire's oldest and most feared warship. Its cannons could level a moon. Its engines carried black scars from every war it had won. From orbit, Earth could see them coming. They're not hiding this time, said an officer. Ross nodded. They think showing power will make us bow. He tapped the command console. They'll learn. As the Imperial fleet passed Jupiter, Earth's defenses activated. Hidden platforms on the gas giant's moons came to life. Drones launched from inside asteroids. Gravity mines floated from Saturn's rings. The Empire expected resistance. They didn't expect precision. Missiles hit from blind angles. Lasers shot from under ice. Ships vanished without warning. Even the most advanced dreadnoughts took damage. Before they could react, still they pushed forward. At the same time, Earth's fleet gathered near the moon. At its center was Hammer, flanked by warships from human colonies and alien allies. Ross stood on the command deck. We hold the line here, no matter what. The Imperial fleet arrived like a storm. Hundreds of cannons lit up the sky. Earth's orbit burned with fire and smoke, but the defenders held. Hammer moved like a monster, its pulse cannon tearing through enemy cruisers. Human fighters weaved between ships, drawing enemy fire and guiding missiles into weak spots. Space around Earth became chaos. Yet even as ships fell on both sides, the humans never broke formation. The world burner carrier launched its main weapon, a planet killer beam aimed straight at Earth. Everyone watched as the giant cannon began to glow. Ross gave a single order. All power to the Hammer. Hammer turned. Its front section glowed with red light. The pulse cannon charged again, faster, stronger. Then it fired. The beam from Earth's battleship struck the world burner's cannon just before it fired. The impact caused a chain reaction inside the ship. It exploded in a burst of blue and white fire, its parts raining down like falling stars. The Imperial fleet paused. For the first time, they hesitated. Inside the judgment, the senior commander whispered, "They destroyed our strongest ship." A younger officer looked at him. "Sir, should we retreat?" The commander said nothing. Then came another message from Earth. "This is not your galaxy anymore. Run." Some ships turned back. Others tried to fight on. But their attacks were weaker now, disorganized, afraid. The wrath of humanity was no longer a story. It was real, and it was just beginning. The Imperial fleet, now broken and scattered, drifted near the edge of Sol space. The great ship Judgment was damaged. Fires burned across its hull. Signals from dozens of warships had gone silent. Back in the Empire's central star system, fear spread like wildfire. No one had ever seen such a defeat. 3 fleets, crushed. One of them, the most powerful in the galaxy, humiliated by a planet the Empire had once called primitive. The Emperor sat alone in his dark chamber. His robes were heavy, his face pale. For the first time in many years, he did not speak. In the palace library, the Empire's high scholar, Malen, worked late into the night. He was not a soldier. He was not loyal to power. He was loyal to truth. He pulled out ancient records, logs from old trade routes, notes from early alien explorers. They all pointed to the same idea. Earth was not like other worlds. Malin read reports from over 200 years ago, small ships that had entered Sol space and never returned. He found rumors from traders, speaking of the Death World, where lightning could kill, beasts could crush tanks, and even the air could poison the weak. One explorer had written in his log, "Humans are strange. They smile, even after pain. They stand up even when bleeding. They fight, not because they love war, but because they refuse to kneel." Malen's hands trembled. He dug deeper, discovering files locked even to most Empire officials. He used old keys, forgotten passwords, secret access codes. Then he found it, an old Imperial survey. A science vessel had studied Earth long ago and made one conclusion: avoid direct conflict. Earth is classified as a Tier 0 death world. The report was ignored, hidden, buried by pride. In the War Council room, Malin stood before the Emperor and his generals. His voice was soft but clear. Earth is not weak. Earth was never weak. "We were blind," the generals murmured. One scoffed. "We have more ships. We can still win." Malin shook his head. "They don't need numbers. They don't think like us. They don't break like us. They are Deathworlders." He turned on a screen showing human history. Endless wars, natural disasters, pandemics, world-ending weapons. And through it all, humans survived. They rebuilt. They adapted. Back on Earth, General Ross stood before his troops. The skies above the planet still glowed from recent battle. Fires in orbit had left debris falling like meteor showers. He looked at the gathered forces: soldiers, engineers, medics, even farmers holding rifles. "Why do they keep coming?" a young soldier asked. Ross answered, "Because they don't understand us. Not yet." He looked up at the sky. "But they will." On a nearby moon base, Earth's engineers repaired damaged ships. The alien allies helped too, learning, watching, and asking questions. One small alien leader approached Ross. "Your people are different," he said. Ross gave a tired smile. "Yeah, we are." The alien looked confused. "You warned the Empire. You asked them to leave. Why not just hide? Why fight so hard?" Ross walked to a window and pointed to Earth. "Because that's home, and we know what it means to lose everything." He looked back at the alien. "We don't fight for glory. We fight because we've already been through hell, and we never want to go back." Across the galaxy, word spread quickly. The Empire had been beaten, not once but again and again, and not by another superpower, but by one planet, a planet of Humans, other species, long silent under the Empire's rule, began to stir. A whisper passed from world to world. Earth stood up. Maybe we can too. Small resistance groups contacted Earth for help. Teach us how you fight, they said. We're ready to rise. The Emperor sat at his throne, looking at a star map. Dozens of systems had gone quiet. Rebellions were rising. Supply lines were failing. His empire was no longer feared. All because of Earth. He slammed his fist on the table. Enough. We crushed them once and for all. But his voice no longer carried the weight it once had. In the shadows of the stars, humanity waited, and the galaxy held its breath. The Empire was falling apart. News of Earth's victories had spread to every edge of the galaxy. On distant planets once ruled by fear, people whispered Earth's name with hope. Rebellions rose faster than the Empire could crush them. Old allies of the Emperor now questioned their loyalty. Governors refused to send ships. Supply lines were broken. Control was slipping, but Earth did not wait. Humanity had warned the galaxy. Then they had defended their home. Now, they were going on the offensive. General Ross stood inside the command center aboard the Hammer. Around him, displays showed dozens of enemy-controlled systems. He pointed to 3 of them. These are major Imperial supply worlds. Hit them all at once. Hit hard. No civilians, only military targets. He looked around the room. The Empire will know what wrath truly means. At the same time, across Earth's colonies, battle groups prepared. From deep space outposts, from hidden bases on moons and dead planets, humanity's fleet launched. These ships weren't just fast. They were built for precision strikes. Each one had a crew trained for years in stealth, sabotage, and shock warfare. But they weren't alone. Alien allies, small fleets of ships, strange designs and colors, joined Earth's mission. Some came seeking revenge. Others came because they believed in something new. Resistance. Together, they moved like ghosts through hyperspace. The first target was Rhinox 3, an Imperial fuel world. The defenders barely had time to raise shields. Earth's ships appeared in orbit and fired in perfect formation. Power stations were disabled. Command centers shut down. Not a single Imperial ship escaped. The second strike was on Veltran Prime, a weapons hub. Earth's fighters flew beneath, planetary sensors planting charges on weapon silos. In under 10 minutes, every factory was ash. The third world was more defended. Earth lost 2 ships in the attack, but the humans didn't stop. They landed troops, disabled the defenses, and vanished before the main fleet arrived. Every system they hit was left crippled, and every time Earth sent the same message. We warned you. We wanted peace. You forced our hand. The Emperor raged. He screamed at his generals. Where are our fleets? Where is our strength? But his generals had no answers. One of them finally spoke. It's not just their weapons. It's how they fight. They think like hunters. They strike, vanish, and strike again. Another added, they're not playing by our rules. They're writing new ones. The Emperor slammed his fist. Then we end this. We destroy their home planet. The plan was simple. Gather the last of the Imperial dreadnoughts, form one final fleet, and strike Earth directly. The Emperor believed that if Earth was gone, the resistance would collapse. He called it Operation Final Flame. But Earth already knew. Spy drones, cracked transmissions, and captured code told General Ross what was coming. They're sending everything, said one officer. This is it. Ross nodded. Then we don't wait. We finish this first. He turned to the map. Target, Imperial core. Humanity's fleet did something no one expected. They bypassed the outer lines. They jumped straight to the Empire's throne system. The Imperial homeworld had never been attacked in over 5,000 years. It was surrounded by a wall of defense satellites, massive war platforms, and orbital cannons. But Earth's fleet didn't attack head-on. They went dark. Drones moved first, jamming signals. Then stealth ships disabled key relays. In the chaos, strike teams landed on the surface inside the capital. Elite human soldiers, known as the Black Sun, led the charge. Their target, the Emperor's palace. The Emperor watched from a tower as his skies burned. Explosions lit the horizon. The royal guards failed to hold the line. Earth soldiers were silent, swift and unstoppable. The Emperor tried to escape, but the palace gates blew open. A single message appeared on every screen in the Empire. This war ends now. The last thing the Emperor saw was the black flag of Earth rising over his capital. In space, the final Imperial fleet still on its way to Earth received the news. The Emperor was gone. The capital had fallen. One by one, ships shut down weapons. Some fled, some surrendered, others self-destructed, unwilling to face defeat. The war was over. And it was not the Empire that stood victorious. It was Earth. The galaxy had gone quiet. After thousands of years of rule, the Galactic Empire had fallen. Its ships no longer filled the skies. Its voice no longer echoed across systems. The once mighty power had been crushed, not by another empire, but by one world, by Earth. On the imperial capital, the city was in ruins. The palace burned, and the Emperor was gone. People stood in the streets confused and afraid. For so long they had lived under the shadow of war and fear. Now the sky was open and silent. From the palace steps, a human officer stood before a crowd of alien citizens. "Did not come to conquer," he said. "We came to stop the war you didn't choose." He paused and looked at their faces. "Earth will not rule you. Earth will not replace your chains with ours. You are free now." The aliens didn't cheer at first. They simply stood, unsure. Freedom was a strange thing after so many years. But deep inside, a light had returned. Back on Earth, General Ross stepped out of the command center for the first time in weeks. The air was cold, the sky blue, and the sun shining. People in cities watched the news in silence. The war was over. Some cheered, others cried. Most just sat with tears in their eyes, whispering, "We're still here." A child walked up to Ross holding a small Earth flag. "Did we win?" the boy asked. Ross kneeled and smiled softly. "No," he said. "We survived, and we made sure they never forget it." In the days that followed, messages came from across the stars. Worlds once controlled by the Empire sent their thanks. Some asked for help rebuilding. Others offered to join Earth's new peace alliance, a group of planets that would protect one another and ensure no empire could rise again. Human engineers traveled to broken systems. Doctors healed wounds, not just bodies, but trust. Earth shared its tech freely. Its message was always the same. We don't want control. We want peace. A monument was built on the moon. It was a tall black stone tower, engraved with the names of all who had fallen, human and alien alike. At its base were 4 words: "We warned you, never again." Visitors came from all over the galaxy. Some left flowers, others left broken weapons. All left with the same thought: humanity had changed everything. In the ruins of an imperial archive, a small alien historian found an old imperial textbook. The cover called Earth a minor planet, not worth attention. He laughed softly and set it beside his own notes. Then he began to write a new chapter. Earth was not the strongest, not the largest, not the oldest, but they were something the Empire never understood. A people who rose from chaos. A people who learned to fight not for power, but for survival. And when they stood, the galaxy followed. General Ross retired months later. He lived quietly in a small town near the coast. Sometimes people recognized him. Sometimes they didn't. He didn't mind. One evening he stood by the ocean watching the waves. A young soldier, now an officer, came to visit him. "We're building a school on Veltren Prime," she said. "They want to name it after you." Ross shook his head with a smile. "Name it after the ones who didn't come back. They're the reason we're still standing." The officer nodded. Before she left, she asked, "Do you think they'll ever come back? Another empire? Another war?" Ross looked up at the stars. Maybe, he said, but next time, the galaxy will remember Earth. And so it was. The silence that followed was not the silence of fear. It was the silence of peace. Hard-earned, built on warnings ignored, and remembered forever.